Hello, everyone. Today I would like to discuss a film. This film was watched by my father and myself and had to go back and watch it again recently. It's one of those things you can watch over and over and over and over again because it's super short. It's less than an hour long, actually. I mean, technically. It's 58 minutes. It's from 1972, and it's called Garden of the Dead. But you didn't see that coming. So before there was Dawn of the Dead, we were thinking maybe we'll take the franchise in a home and gardening direction. It's Night of the Dead, Garden of the Dead, Kitchen of the Dead. Yeah. By the way, I'm just gonna let you know up front. There's no reason for this movie to have that title, Garden of the Dead. I don't know what that has to do with anything. And where this takes place is a penal fort. It's the 1970s, the early 70s. But yeah, they're out on a fort somewhere, and it's their sole duty in life to produce formaldehyde, which is a biocide, I guess, and it's used to embalm dead people. I don't what that has to do with gardening, I'm not sure. But they spend their time making it, and when they're not making it, they're getting high off it. Which is also, by the way, something that you can't do in real life. There's no instance of people breathing in formaldehyde fumes for even therapeutic purposes. And these guys are not microdosing either, by the way. They're going over when no one's looking. They're like, we're just gonna. By the way, no one's looking most of the time. There's like 3 guards walking around with guns that are usually not loaded. What's going on? And they'll have to walk back to their truck and put some bullets in there. And okay, but you know what? They're not causing trouble. They're getting high. It's just shameful what they're doing. It's not destructive. It's just shameful. They're over in the shed. There's like some weird shed area, and that's where they make it. There's like some tubs and some tanks, kind of like it's laughing gas, or like they're making balloons. And one of the dudes goes over, and there's a hose. There's a very special hose over there. And I thought you had to turn a mechanism, but some people just walk over and grab it, and it's already fuming. And they're like, whoa! Ooh! They just like put it all over their face. But then they take it and they stick it in water, like in a bath of water, and they bloop, 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 and then they pull it out and they start sniffing it, and then bloop, 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 and wait, what? And they'll start splashing the water on themselves, and and they'll do this forever. I mean, they'll get real into it, and they'll come out all perspiring and sweaty and with like dark circles around their eyes. We've been getting high off formaldehyde. Oh, by the way, also back there is where our tunnel for escaping is. And in case you're interested in that, we also have a tunnel back there. We're going to use it to escape. We're not going to do it right now, though, because we're high. Every time we try to escape, we end up getting sidetracked by the formaldehyde. Now, also at this prison, there's the warden. He has no name. That's just his name, Warden. You know, the thing about him is he's like super intense, and he looks like a gorilla. He's got the Jufro and like too much space between either his lips, chin, or nose. He always looks super intense and angry about everything. He's like, God damn it! These men sitting around getting high on formaldehyde! What kind of fort is this? So that's kind of, I suppose, the setup. And you know, we get to think about it, too, at the beginning of the film, because we open on a shot, like a still frame of the fort, and it's nothing. It's just people like wheeling barrels of stuff around, and there's music going. This is our soundtrack for you. It's like big band music, but like jazz music. Oh, what would be comparable? 101 Dalmatians? And a still of a farm or, you know, a weird outpost somewhere. I'm like, oh, okay. And Garden of the Dead! And then we start up the film and we're like, oh, it's just as boring as we thought it would be. It's people pushing shit around and chickens and whatever else is going on at this poorly run outpost. Because, you know, I'm going to let you know, man, the generators are failing constantly. The barbed wire fences do not have barbs on them. And again, the cops are real lazy. The guy who runs the prison, like the chief of staff, is Jabowski. And Jabowski's this big, fat dude. Dumb Pollock, I suppose. And then suddenly, this woman approaches the compound. She just drives up to the front gate. She drives up, she gets out, she's in a waitress outfit for no explained reason. She walks up, she's like, can I take your order? Do you guys know what you want? And the guard comes up, and he loads his gun, because again, it wasn't loaded before. Uh-oh, there's some waitress approaching the compound. I better get my fucking 12 gauge loaded. What do you want? And she's like, well, I'm here to see my boyfriend, Paul. I'm here to see Paul. Let me see him. And Paul comes out, and he's wiping off his hands. Paul's not like the other ones. He doesn't get high with them. He says, you know what? No, just no. And he walks off, and he plants his flag, and he's like, thanks, Nan. Everyone else doesn't think he's cool. And he invites his girlfriend around in, like, waitress outfits, and has her come and tease us, because they all stare at her. They're like, Paul, I need to talk to you. I hear that apparently they're dissolving the outpost. You're going to be transferred somewhere else, I suppose. I'm going to be giving up my job at the cafe, and I'm also getting kicked out of my trailer, or I don't know. She's like, so maybe I'll move with you? Or I know what it's like to be a military wife. The dude behind the fence says, you have a few minutes. He's like, go outside and do her! He's like, you have a minute to go hug her. Like, for a kind of softcore conjugal visit. And so the guy goes over and unlocks the gate, which is like, it's so flimsy. Again, the wires don't have barbs on them, nor are they electric wires. I don't know what they are. The guy walks out, and he hugs her, and she's like, oh, thank you. All right, that's enough. Stop loving her. Get back here. He's not a man. He's a loving machine. And lets him go, and she's like, okay, now I gotta go put your guys' order in, or I gotta get out of here. So she turns and leaves. And by the way, all of the other people watching are not cool with this. Not that we really get that from any of their expressions, but later on they make it known. They come that night, everyone's playing cards, and one of the dudes approaches him. I forget what his name is. He's like, hey man, listen, we were, gonna escape tonight and all. First we're gonna get high. But the thing is, sit down. We saw that the guard, let you just walk out of the fucking prison, essentially, to hug your girlfriend. We think you're a snitch. And then he takes out a knife and stabs him. Ah! Oh! And he falls over. By the way, he's not dead. He's totally alive. So he falls over, and he's playing dead, I guess. And he's like, there, good. We thought he was a snitch. Oh, and anybody else in our bunk here, in our barrack, who isn't going to escape with us and get high? Now you know what happens, I guess. Don't have a girlfriend like he does. Then they turn and they leave, because there's no guards anywhere watching over them or anything. They go over to where their hole is, and they start sliding in and escaping. But then this one guy's like, before I go, I think I'm going to hit the hose again, for old time's sake. He finds it, and he's like, I know what to do. So he's getting high on the hose. He has to dip it in water. Oh, that is some good tube. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, he sits there and dicks around forever sniffing mummy juice, and then he just pieces out when he feels like it. There's no hurry or anything. He gets out, they pop out the mole hole on the other side, and they go running for a truck. I guess Nan was right. He falls and the gun goes off. And they're not happy about this. But again, nothing about their reaction would let you know that in the immediate. So they're like, no, come on, buddy, come on. And they've been given away, though. I mean, their plan is screwed now because everybody knows that they're running around in the woods. Not like there might be hunters. They turn on the light and they see them. They jump on the truck, and the dude with the gun jumps up on the truck. He hands them the gun, and then he feels like that may not have been a good idea because they don't look happy. We're not starting the truck with you on it, at least alive. Guys, I'm really sorry. I know I shouldn't have been doing hose before we left, but be kind to me. No, and they shoot him. They blow him away, and he falls off the truck, and they drive off. There was no reason for them to do that, honestly. I mean, really, it wasn't his fault, and letting him live would not have endangered their chances of survival any more than they had been fucked up. Sorry, we don't trust you. We're all junkies, too. But they peace out, and the cops are on their ass, though. They're driving after them. They're in a gunfight, and they end up driving off the road and crashing into the cemetery. And the truck that they're in also has formaldehyde on it. The corpses in the ground are already pumped full of it, so I don't know what the fuck it's gonna do that more leaks into the ground. It doesn't really bring anyone back from the dead that's buried already, let's put it that way. So the men get off the truck. They don't really know what to do. They're kind of feeling screwed at this point because the cops have surrounded them. They're too dangerous to live! They just gun them all down. And that's it. And the warden takes special pleasure in this. I think that he gets the kill shot on all of them. And right now, they're all just kind of playing dead. They're laying around, and the warden's like, I'm angry! I'm gonna go back to the fort and be angry at the prisoners that are still alive that didn't escape, because I can't be angry at these guys. They've gone beyond the reach of my anger, or my bad moods. And he goes back to the fort. God damn you! You knew this was gonna happen, and you said nothing! So I'm gonna leave you tied up to a pole outside for 3 days on bread and water. Nothing else! Oh, what about my insulin? Well, you got your pump. Of course we'll bring your insulin out to you, but otherwise, no. Oh, and you have to check your blood sugar, and you have to check it often, I know. So we'll bring that to you as often as you need. But other than that, one of the dudes is like, you can't do this to us. It's not fair. You know what? For backsassing, you get another day on nothing but bread and water and your insulin. Oh, and by the way, what's really cool is they're all chained up, but they decide to stand. Like, none of them at any point want to sit down. They just stand there. And they do it quietly, too. They don't talk to each other or... I don't know. It just seems like they're making this as uncomfortable as it could be. He's like, I'm glad that you guys are taking this in the spirit that I'm intending it. And he turns and walks off. He's got other things to do. He's got personal things to think about because they told him in a letter that they did the whole, we're going in a different direction. They're cutting him loose. They're like, Warden, you're too much like an ape. You're not the future. You're the past. Oh, and again, we're having generator issues. Now, out in the cemetery, they are burying them in shallow graves. If they're burying them on top of the ground, is it technically a grave? Is it really? They're like, it's a shallow grave! They're just burying them one by one on the ground with dirt on top of them. I have to think if a mild rain came by, it would wash all the soil off. But it doesn't even matter because they come back to life! They're angry about how they've been interred. They get up and they grab one of the dudes. And what's funny is that the hand just grabs him, and the dude that's with him is like, "Woo! He's a goner!" He drops his shovel and runs off. And the dude who has his foot being grabbed, again, he's got a shovel, but it's too much. He's like, "No! No!" And he falls to the ground. But nothing's pulling him to the ground. He's just falling to the ground. He's like, it's too much. I can't hold myself up anymore. He falls over, and the dude gets up out of the ground, and he's like, hey. And he goes over and kind of gets on top of him. And the zombies are not out to eat people in this film. Again, this is 1972. 4 years after Night of the Living Dead was made. There were no set zombie rules. There was no... exact spelled out dogma for how they were supposed to operate or what their motives were supposed to be. And I gotta say, it's a little scatterbrained in this film. They don't want to eat people. They want to murder and get high. That's kind of all they want to do. Like minorities. They attack the dude, they're strangling him, and they kill him. The other dude's running away, and then some more zombies pop up. And they're very, how do I put this? It's kind of like when you're at an intersection and there's a driver and you're kind of arguing about right-of-way. That's kind of how they operate. It's this... The zombies, if they don't think that what they're going to try and do is going to work, they'll just abort missions sometimes. This is where it starts. They'll be like about to come forward, but no, maybe they'll just take a step back and do it this way. As far as I'm to understand, the living dead get up and come forward, and nothing stops them unless their head gets knocked off. But not these zombies. They're like, we want a good result. The ends justify the means. So the means are going to be weird and inconsistent. And they attack him. Again, I don't know exactly what they do to him. They eventually get an MO. All the zombies get together. They get in a group, and they're like, which one of us was the one who was leading the breakout? I feel like he would be the best one to tell us what to do. Well, thank you. If we remember anything, it's that I'm the boss. And I think we should all go over to the truck! Ah! They walk over there, and they open up the back of the truck, and he starts handing the weapons out one by one. He's like, here you go! Here you go! And it's all gardening equipment. There's like a whole bunch of different things like that. And again, he's handing it out, but I can see hesitation, like he's thinking about it too much. You look like a rake kind of guy, and you a shovel, and you get a pickaxe, but I'm definitely saving the garden spade for me. And so they divide up everything, and then a voice kind of comes out of nowhere. You can tell me if you know who's saying this, that a voice just kind of suddenly comes in over the shot, like the voice of God, and it goes, "We will go murder the living. We'll go do that." And it repeats that a couple of times. Of course, Ted! Yeah, sure! I mean, what else are we going to do with these weapons? Then they walk off in the direction of the fort. They have a mission. They're going to go murder. So they're wandering around in the woods. Now, Carol is real sad. She heard that Paul got shanked, and she's laying in her RV, and there's some dude with her. He claims to be the doctor, and he's like, "Carol, I know you're sad, sweetie, so have a shot of Madam Morphine. Take some of that and lay back. Dream sweet dreams, and when you wake up, it'll all be over." Whatever that means. And then he gets up, and then he goes outside, and there's some, I don't know, good neighbors that are watching over her. And he's like, it's a good thing that you guys are here looking after the Winnebago. Yeah, we were just going to stand outside and, smoke a peace pipe. Just keep an eye on her. And we hear that her incarcerated boyfriend is going through some shit. He got shanked. So the doctor leaves, and then the zombies come. They come over, and they attack these dudes for no reason, by the way. They have no vendetta against these people, but they just happen to be in the way. And so they jump on the elderly couple. No! No! And inside the RV, Carol, she's kind of out of it. She doesn't know what's going on. So she looks up through the window, and this is weird. I don't know what this is. The zombies are like, "Get them into the truck!" They get them into another RV because they don't want to kill them outside. They're like, we do this behind closed doors. Especially when it's old people. That just looks bad. They drag them in there, and we can, kind of see it through the window. Well, Carol can. She's looking out, and she looks into the RV window, and she sees a knife in an old woman's face. Ah! And she's being stabbed, and Carol's reaction to this is to just lay back, take a deep breath, and start screaming. And do that for, I don't know, however long it takes for the zombies to hear her and follow her voice to where she is. She just lays there screaming and thrashing around. I was to understand that whatever he injected her with would make her go to sleep. Man, she's fighting it. She gets up, she's like, "Ooh, okay, I'm done." And she walks to the front of the RV because she's going to start the trailer. And then she looks around and notices that the living dead have appeared. And they're standing around the truck like, "How's it going?" They're not doing anything. They're just standing there staring. Ah! She sits down. She has some more screaming. It's like she's throwing up and she has to get it out. She's, "Ah! Okay." Ah! And she starts the truck, and they're all just standing around staring. Bye! And drives off, and one of them's like, "Follow that truck!" Again, that stuff that's supposed to knock her out never really takes effect, so she's fighting it, but she wins. She's, "Thank God I'm panicking like a woman." She drives over to the fort, and the people watching the gate walk over, Jabowski. He's like, "What's going on, sugar?" And she can't say. She's not really 100% sure if she's in danger. And then they look out into the distance, and they see some people walking around. Whoa, wait, now? I saw them lurching around and kind of dragging garden tools with them, and they've apparently traveled several miles in about 5 minutes. How fast was she going? The zombies have come to them. They're here now. Jabowski's like, "Oh shit!" He runs in, and they lock the gate. Carol is being taken, through the fort, and the warden comes up. He's still dressed in his black suit and black gloves. He's just trying to look more like a gorilla. And he's like, "What's going on? What's this angel doing in our fort? She's not supposed to be in here. We're supposed to be on lockdown." Well, there's the living dead outside, sir, so I don't know what you want me to do. I'm just Jabowski or whatever. You fucking Pollock, just take her back to my office. And he goes over to the gate, and there's, the other dude. Maybe you should load your gun, because the living dead are out there. I don't know what this is supposed to be. He's like, go take a look out there. Just go see what's going on out there. The guard's like, yeah, sure. So he walks out into the clearing. There's, some fog and there's trees. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, some people run up and they're like, ah! And they start hitting them. And the zombies do this. They just run up and they hit people with pickaxes and gardening equipment. And it's usually pretty brutal, too. So someone runs up and just sticks a pickaxe in his head and runs away. We see the warden. He's like, and then it cuts to him and some other dude, the sheriff, and they're standing over, I assume, the body of the person we saw just get murdered. God, what could have happened? What do you mean, what could have happened? You were right there watching. Wow, what could have done it? The sheriff's like, well, I'll make sure to keep my lemons peeled, I guess, for whatever could have done this. And oh, should I send someone out here to get his body? And the warden's like, no, take it back right now. I don't want anyone walking around alone. And Jabowski's like, I saw it, sir. It was the living dead, I swear. God damn it, Jabowski. Just give everyone ammo and tell them to put it in their guns, too. I want it in your gun before. And they take all of the men that they have in various places and they go and they put them over in the generator room, or they put them into some room that's concrete sealed. Except for the people who are hanging out over at the tree. Again, they get to be chained there. They're fine. Warden makes a point. He's like, nothing has happened in the fort yet, except for that escape and all the other really bad security that we have. I mean, right now there's a gaping hole in one of the fences and no one's aware of it. Again, this isn't barbed wire. What was stopping them from escaping in the first place? Because it doesn't hamper them from getting in at all. The zombies go up to the fence, and one of them takes an axe that he has, hacks one of the wires. Like he does it kind of like a retarded kid would do. And single strike, they're through. They all like kind of pull the wires up and they walk under and they get through. And again, these are dumb zombies. They're kind of only half trying to act dead. They're pussyfooting. Is that the word for it? Where you're being selective about where you're stepping so you don't fall over. It's just not a zombie, if you ask me. Oh, and by the way, when they get in there, again, they want to get high. They're not out to eat anybody. They want to kill people when they have the chance. When it's convenient, they'll do it. But what they really want to do is go get some more of that formaldehyde. They walk on over, and now they don't have to do the tube thing anymore. They're done with that. They're just going to, like, ingest it directly. And they're rubbing it on themselves, and These are the old-fashioned zombies, by the way, the ones that make noise constantly, moaning and groaning and being high. And a lot of them just stay over at the formaldehyde tank the entire time and don't leave. They just are rolling around in the bathtub of mummy liquid, and that's what they do. But then every now and then one of them will be like, I gotta take a walk, guys. Whoa! And he'll walk around, we'll see a guard. I might as well explain to you now how they attack. So there'll be a guard walking around, and one of them will run up and just come out like a jouster. Pickaxe, damn! Hits the dude right in the chest, and he falls over like Halloran in The Shining and wiggles, and the dude hits him a couple more times with the pickaxe and then runs off. We're like, wow, damn, that's brutal. And you gotta keep an ear out or something, because again, they pussyfoot around like cats. You don't hear them coming. They're talking at the moment outside, and then they hear some screaming and running around, and they look kind of out of their peripheral, and they see another zombie. Now, this is the zombie that got them all turned into zombies, essentially. He's the dude that got shot and fell off the truck. And he's running around screaming, again, kind of calling attention to himself. And he gets a light shown on him. No! It's the spotlight, and it chases him to a tree where he decides to die. He's like, I give up. And he falls over, and he's dead. And they walk over, and they take a look. And, suddenly it gets really gross. Or, I don't know. Like, suddenly we look, and he's, like, decomposing. He's like, There's foam coming out of his mouth and his skin's peeling off. And by the way, we don't have any idea how he died. When that happens, we're like, he just seemed to spaz out and fall over. But now I guess he's liquidating. And they're like, It would seem that they're laliophobic. They're allergic to light. Not sunlight, just any kind of light, even light generated from a flashlight. Or that's enough to not just scare them, but literally melt them, cause them to start like decomposing extra fast. Does this have anything to do with the formaldehyde? These are special zombies. Apparently, if you're reanimated by huffing formaldehyde or being buried in it, or then sunlight or just any light will kill you. And so it seems to me that the obvious solution is to, I don't know, maybe go run into a house and just hang out in the living room and watch some TV. But don't turn off the light. Keep the lights on. I know that might be difficult for some of you people who like to pretend it's a movie theater. But you got to keep the lights on. That's all you need to do. They're like, okay, everyone to my office. And they run into a house and they hang out in there for a while. It's made out of flimsy walls, just like the rest of the goddamn base. None of it's made to be permanent. And that works against them, for sure. That gives the zombies some leeway. But again, as long as there's functioning lighting equipment in there, it's hopeless. Now, the zombies decide, okay, well, maybe we'll go for the generator. And they go and they attack the generator. And they fuck with it, but they don't break it, because they get it running again somehow. But they fuck with it, so now it's even more unstable. We're never really sure when the light might turn out for a few seconds and give the zombies time to attack. One of them decides to go over and also attack the cars, like attack the trucks. And the people tied to the tree can see all of this. Again, no one really cares to go out and help them at this point. So they're like, what's he doing? Oh, wait, that's Collins! Collins! What are you up to? And he opens up all of the truck hoods, and then he runs past each of them, he literally hits the engines like twice, and does no visible damage. And now they don't work anymore! He dink-dinked them! And everyone's stuck at the base now. Jabowski is told to get their finest, youngest, healthiest lad, and send him out to the next town to get some backup, I guess. In the meantime, again, we'll all just hang out in my office, which should suffice, because there's light on me. And they're hanging out in there, I don't know, they're feeling like maybe they should leave, or they should leave. They're like, we really shouldn't stay here until the sunlight comes out. We really should leave, like, sooner than that, for, again, no reason. And by the way, Paul is in here recovering from his shank wound. He's been reunited with Carol, and, oh, Paul, this is so romantic. I never thought I'd break into prison to be with you. They're cuddling. I would say that Paul is in more danger being wounded here right now than anything else. And then suddenly a zombie comes up and starts smashing at the window. He's got his pickaxe and he turns and leaves. What fucking reason does a zombie have to go up and start fucking with a window and then turn around and run away? He's like, whoa, wait a minute. Once I get the window open, what am I going to do? I can't run in there. The lights are on. He bolts. He abandons mission. He didn't think it through. He's like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I got a better idea, but I'm going to have to come back. They're like, well, god damn it. If zombies keep vandalizing the house, it's going to make it very uncomfortable to be in here. And again, you know, the unpredictability of these zombies might be one of their few advantages. I don't know. Because it lulls them into a false sense of security. They end up deciding that they're going to try and go outside. Let's just leave the house. We can't be in here anymore. For no reason. Oh, and by the way, when they walk out of the house, the window that was broken is fixed. It's not broken anymore. We're like, oh, well, at least the zombie fixed the window that it broke, or someone fixed it. So they walk away from the house, and they see the men over at the tree. They're like, well, we should probably unchain them and let them in. Even though they haven't been killed, just standing around, chained up, nothing's happened to them. But we should let them go. So they walk over, and they start unchaining them, and the warden's like, I can't believe I'm doing this so soon after saying I was going to leave you here for 4 days. And this zombie runs up out of nowhere and, again, does the bonsai kamikaze kill. Hits him with the axe and runs away. Whoa. Wow, that was quick. And so they walk off, and another zombie does it too. And someone else is standing outside the house, and he runs by, and this is the best, because when he hits the dude, he goes all limp-armed. Woo! He flies by, and he like trips. I guess the pickaxe is left stuck in whoever the dude is that he just grazed. You know, these zombies suck, the fact that they don't stick around to fight. That's shitty. So everyone learns a lesson. They're like, well, I guess we should go back into the house. And they turn, and anyone who is alive goes back in. But then they have another idea. They're like, well, we got to go out because we need to get to that other house over there where everyone else is. Again, for what reason? You guys are perfectly safe. We don't want to be alone. We don't want to be by ourselves. And in order to do that, our brilliant solution is we're going to take down the light that we have up on top of the little sentry tower that watches over the fort. We're going to take it down for no reason. It's a huge fucking light, and they got to hoist it down. It takes a couple of people, and they never explain why they have to do that, but they need to get it down, and they need people to spot them, and they need to go back outside. And the idea here, apparently, is that they'll shine the light on themselves, or someone will do it, and they will walk at, a real slow, steady, I would say almost mocking pace through the yard as the zombies stand around them, suddenly using their hands, because that's how they attack. Again, I thought they attacked by running up and sticking garden tools in you, but now all of a sudden they do it by touching with the tips of their finger. They're like, and then the light starts fading in and out because the generator is fucked up, and we can hear the dude. He's like flipping the switch really frantically. And then it turns on again, and none of the zombies took their opportunity. Oh, whoa. Well, next time I guess I won't fuck around. Again, not all the zombies are here doing this. A couple of them are still back at the formaldehyde bin, doing whatever they do. And this doesn't work. It doesn't work. Someone else runs up, sticks something in someone, the light goes off, and they have to run back to the damn house. They made it all of, 60 feet. Carol turns around to take a look at them. And they all stop and look back at her. They're like, if you're, gonna give us the evil eye, Carol. She walks in, and Jabowski, he's like the new warden now that the warden is dead. He's taken the reins. I guess he was really always the person who should have been in the position. Who would have thunk? But Jabowski is like, you know what I think we should do? I think you need to go outside, Carol. You seem to have a way with them. What? No! Yeah, they stopped and looked at you, Carol. You have a way with them. And Carol's... He's like, you have to go out and face them. Whatever that means. He's like, go approach them and do something. Do anything. You seem to have a way with them. And she wants to argue this point. She wants to dispute that. She's like, I'm supposed to be knocked out on morphine right now. I'm supposed to be deep in slumber, waking up, and the nightmare's over. And you're telling me I gotta go out and reason with the zombies? and she looks to Paul maybe to back her up, but Paul ain't gonna do that. I remember how they used to talk about you, Carol. When they looked at you, when you would leave at night, they would all discuss how they wanted to put themselves in you and look at you and rub your body. And I'm sure that hasn't changed now that they're dead. What kind of help is that? Thanks, Paul, for backing me up. I guess I'm going to have to go out there and take care of this. She walks out there. She's like, all right, boys, let's settle this like women and men. They're just sort of staring at her. Wow, I finally get to stand in front of Carol. I got her ear and I don't know what to say. They sent me out here. Any of you got a cigarette? And then the cops run out. And they're like, good, they're standing in place. And they shoot them. And now guns work all of a sudden. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Now they do. And they all get shot just standing around staring at Carol. And Carol's like, oh, God, it's terrible. She bursts into crying again for no reason. For no reason. She just saw some zombies get killed. That was real terrible. And have we killed all of them, by the way? I'm not convinced that a few of them are still back over getting high at the fucking formaldehyde bin. But the night is over. Everything's been taken care of. And she walks back into the house. She's, whoa, goodness. Whew, she sits down next to Paul, who has not participated really at all in the movie. I could not call him a main character in any sense. Carol, how'd it go? Considering you left the door open, I'm guessing the threat has been taken care of. Yeah, it has been. It was weird. I'm glad it worked out. I don't know. And now you and I can be together? I don't know. I was talking to the doctor and he told me I should go get an apartment in the city or that I should stop hanging out with you. Maybe that's true. I don't know. The zombies kind of followed her here, technically, if they weren't already on their way here. I don't know what was their mission? What was the point? The end! Did you see that coming? That's the end. We look outside the house, and the men they're wandering around, and all of a sudden the film has gotten, like, really green. Suddenly everything has, like, a crazy green tint to it, and also the heat of the film has gone way blue. Oh, yeah, we're gonna go into a freeze frame again. This is probably the end. And it freeze frames on just some random thing of someone standing outside the house, like, itching their ass. Dun dun! We go back into the music. 101's Dalmatians music. And they're letting us know who was in the film, who has the balls, the cojones, to actually have their name put on this. And scrolling by, the end! There you go. 58 minutes. It's already over. It's Garden of the Dead. What garden? What garden? At what point did we do any gardening? Garden of the Dead. You know, I gotta say, for everything I've said, it is really atmospheric. I mean, the acting is terrible. The story is terrible. Some of the effects are honestly pretty terrible too, but it's very Grindhouse. You have to think that Rodriguez saw this or Tarantino saw this and they made Death Proof and Planet Terror. I mean, it's the exact same thing. And it's a zombie movie from the early 70s, earlier than any other zombie film from the 70s I've watched. They're back from the dead. They rose from the graveyard, incidentally. Powered on formaldehyde, I guess. What's the message of this zombie film? Is it we should stop using formaldehyde? Zombies that can't stand light that comes from light bulbs. Garden of the Dead. And you know, my dad summarized it, I think, really good. He said, it was absolutely horrific, but somehow it wasn't the worst thing I had ever seen.